Hey YouTube, this is going to be my video on how to supercharge your Intex swimming pool. The video is going to have about 6 or 7 minutes of me showing you some of the pipe fittings and what I had to go through to get those fittings, where you get them from, that kind of thing. And then the last part of the video will be the completed project and showing you how everything went together. If you guys have any questions about why I did something or how something went together or how I attached, two pieces of pipe together, shoot me a message. I'll try and get back and get you an answer. At the end of the video, I'll insert the model number of the pump in case this is something you want to order. I got it at Walmart. You can order it through walmart.com and save some money that way. Alright, well, sit back, enjoy the video, and hopefully this will help you supercharge your Intex pool. Hey YouTube, today I'm going to do an upgrade on my Intex swimming pool. It's a 16-footer by about 3.5, 4 feet, something like that. The pump that comes with these Intex, I find them to be garbage, the filter and pump assembly. We had a lot of problems last year, and I kind of felt like the pump and the filter was not doing the job it should have been doing. So this year I went looking for a different option, and I found a Intex crystal clear sand filter pump, and it moves about twice as much water. So the old pump was rated for around 1,000 gallons an hour. The new pump is rated for a little over 2,000 gallons an hour. One of the things I ran into right away is the new one comes with 1.5-inch hoses. Now when I say 1.5-inch, I'm looking at the ID on the hose. That does not mean that the hose will hook up to an 1.5-inch Schedule 40 connection or an 1.5-inch connection. It actually needs a 2-inch connection. I think that's what they call it in the pool store. I was getting some varying answers. One thing I found, this is just a word to the wise, I guess. When you go into a pool store, you can ask the questions, but you're going to need to verify what you're told, because like every time I go into that pool store, I've seen different people working in there. They're just hiring people at the beginning of the season. These guys do not know what they're talking about. Now, there may be some qualified people there, but I haven't run into them on the sales floor. What ended up happening, I had to kind of figure this out for myself, how to put these parts together. My question I posed to the lady at the pool store was, I've got a pump with, looks like 1.5-inch hose on it. The pool's set up for 1.25 inch. Do they sell an 1.5-inch fitting I can attach to my pool? Or should I run 1.25 inch? Oh, no, run 1.25 inch. It won't hurt anything. So maybe she's right. I don't know. But just, on a whim, I called Intex customer care and asked to speak to their technical support. That was the second frustrating thing I had to deal with today. Intex customer care, I'm not going to knock them. They answered their phone in a reasonable time. There was a little bit of a wait, and then they got me on. But their customer care also thinks they're technical support, meaning when you ask them a question, they try and pull it up either online or whatever, and they give you an answer. Plus, there's a language barrier. I don't know where they're at. I don't really care. What I care is that when I talk to you and I can't understand you and you can't understand me, that's a language barrier. And it's a communication problem, and it makes it difficult to solve problems. So I'm busy trying to explain to this lady that I have a pump that has 1.5-inch lines on it, and I have an 1.25-inch hookup at my pool, and does this cause a problem for the pump since it's an Intex pump and an Intex pool, or is there enough variance in there that it'll allow me to do that? Her response to that was, what do you want to buy? I say, I don't want to buy anything. I thought we had moved past that and now we were in technical support. Yes, so what is it I can help you with? Just so you know, if you have to contact Intex, be prepared for what you're going to deal with. So getting back to this project, what I've decided to do is, just for me, so that I'm not concerned with it, I'm going to modify this setup to make this pump not have the restriction on it. And the way I'm going to do that is, the pool has 2 inlets on it, which would be the intake coming from the pool going into the filter system. So I'm going to combine those together. On the old system, they had a T, okay? So you had your 1.25-inch lines run in here. One ran to the pool, another one came out this side, ran to the pool, and then this one in the front runs to the pump. The problem I have with it, I'm going to come in close so you can see this. Look how small that is. That's actually less than 1 inch. I think it measures about 7/8. I've got a pump that has a hose that it wants to do 1.5 inch on it, and now I have this restriction, 7/8. I just feel like it's too much, so I'm going to correct it. What I'm going to do is put in this. you can see the difference of where we're going. The reason why I'm doing that is to give more water flow. This to me is a bottleneck. I don't even know if this would allow a full 1,000 gallons an hour to run through it. But with the new pump that I'm putting on this, it's going to be a pump that's rated for about 2,100 gallons an hour. A 2,100 gallon an hour pump is going to need more than just 7/8 inch of pipe. It's going to need about 1.5 inches, I think, to safely run it through. I'm going to take the two inlets from the pool, combine them together at this Y. So it's not coming in at a hard T, it's coming in at a Y where it flows together. And then they're going to join and come out on this single right here, which will go into 1.5 inch flexible hose that runs into the pump itself. So I just wanted to show you guys this so you get an idea for the parts that I'm going to be using. This was 1.5 inch Y. All three are 1.5 inch, and then I put in female couplings with threads on them. The reason why I did that is because the hose that comes from the pump does not hook up to a normal 1.5 inch or a 2-inch PVC. It has to have one of these adapters. You get them at a pool store. There'll be a rubber washer that goes in there, and then that threads on. And I think the difference is because the PVC probably has a slight taper to it, and this doesn't. And it gives it a flat surface for it to butt up against and seal around the inside right here. If you try to use one of these like I did at first, it's not going to thread on there. You're not going to get a good connection. You have to get a part like this. The way I'm connecting up these old 1.25 inch hoses is this. It's a hose connection kit. Again, this is something you get at a pool store. I could not find anything at my local home center that would actually fit inside here properly. I had to get one of these. This fits in, you'll clamp onto that, and then this right here converts over to that 1.5 inch thread, which will then thread right into the Y right here. So you get the point of where we're going with this. The reason I'm using these intakes and the input back into the pool again, and I'm probably not using the right phrase for it, I'm not a pool guy, I'm just trying to make this work for my wife. If you don't cover up those holes, you got holes on the side of the pool, so you're either going to have to plug them and then run something over the top of the pool, or use these, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a second hose over top of the pool, which will give us some relief on the pump. I'm afraid that hose going back in, the input of the water back into the pool, it's such a choke point there, I'm afraid it'll put back pressure on the pump. So on the way out of this pump, I'm going to put another Y, one that runs over to the input into the pool, and then another one that's going to run up over the top of the pool and go in. I'll cut over here, we'll put some images in when I'm done so you guys can see what it looks like when it's done, and I'll talk about it more then too. Alright, so here's the final product of the Supercharging the Intex pool. I'll get the model number and serial number of this sand pump filter up there for you guys. But basically what I did is I took the two connections that are coming out of the pool that would fed the old pump system, and I ran them into 1.5 inch Y. I put threaded connections on all three of the Y connectors, the Y connection points, so that I could put an adapter that would accept these hoses right here and put adapters on the other end to go to the 1.25 inch hoses. I think you can see in the video there's duct tape on those. I had to do that to stop it leaking. I may end up putting a sealant in there. Even though this is 1.25 inch supplies from the pool store, these are the pool supply lines, everything should just clamp together. I could not get a leak tight seal on it. I happen to be a handyman. I do know how to do plumbing. This was not normal for me to see something do this like this. So I'm a little bit disappointed. When I put them together, I could feel there was enough slop and play in there that I was concerned about this thing ever sealing. And as soon as I did it, I was like, there's just too much slop here, it's going to leak, and it did. So what I did is I used the plastic clamps, and then I put the duct tape around it to kind of thicken the outside diameter of what I was putting the pipe over. Then I used the plastic clamp, but I added metal clamps. You'll see there's two clamps on each of those connections. All the stuff I did there is fine. There's 0 leaks. And the kids are trying to get me wet. So this side here I got a slight leak. Again, they told me at the pool store that these adapters would work for the 1.5 inch hoses. They sold me the adapter and the 1.5 inch hose. And they said, oh yeah, sure, use the metal clamps. I put a metal hose clamp on there, tightened everything down, it's leaking. I don't want to go any more tighter than it is because I'm afraid I'll crack the pipe. I got that thing really tight, I still have a leak. When I put it on, there was just too much play. This one here, I may end up putting some silicone in there, and we'll go from there. And here's my helper. If you guys haven't met her yet, this is the newest member of the Burbilly family. This is Stella. This is she's about 8 weeks old right now. She's a Shih Tzu pup. So this wasn't supposed to be part of the video, but she wanted to be in there so you guys can say hi. Hi. Hi, YouTube. Okay, so back to what we're talking about though. I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna pull the camera back and show you how I did the hookup. I had a lot of screwing around here to make this work right, but once I got it working, it's a pretty simple setup, and you would spend a lot less time than I did, because you can obviously see how I did all the connections, and once you know what you got to get, it's a lot easier. Okay, so coming out of the pool, we have the two outlets that normally would connect in to a T and then run over to the pump. I put a Y in there. The reason I did it so there wasn't a bottleneck. If I haven't showed you that already, I'll put a clip in later in the video to show you what I'm talking about. You can see right there's the two clamps I'm talking about, and the duct tape that's thickening up that OD to make it hold tight without leaking. Then, so you have, this is just 1.5 inch PVC, Schedule 40 Y, and then I ran a threaded adapter, which I glued to it, and then that's got a female thread, which accepts the male thread from this piece, which converts you over to a hose piece. These are sold at pool stores. You probably won't find them in a home center. The reason why I got these is I couldn't find anything in the home centers to fit in these in the inside of these pipes snugly. But as I've been saying, these don't work the greatest either, but at least they do work somewhat. This side right here is a female adapter. Threads, there's this gray piece in here is another adapter. You have to get that at the pool store again. It has a special thread that will accept these threaded on adapters from the pool. These will not fit on a normal PVC pipe. So this right here is the pump and filter that comes with the pool. It says it's rated up to 1,000 gallons an hour. The one that I'm running is rated for over 2,000 gallons an hour. It's overkill, but I'm hoping to solve the problem. I don't want to have another summer like we had last year. You can see the difference in the sizes of the two pumps. That big canister is where the sand is, but that pump motor is such a beefier motor and a setup than what you have here with this one. These right here, you can buy them at Walmart online for about 50, 60 bucks. In the store, they might be a little bit more. These right here were on sale for, I believe, about 180 to 200, but Walmart online had them for around $100, and that's what I had them price matched to. To put sand in and not have to worry about adding filters all year, this one right here, the smaller one, takes a filter cartridge they recommend changing out every 2 weeks, and they're about 10 bucks a cartridge if you buy them in a pack. Do the math on that. It doesn't take very long before this thing has paid for itself without having to worry about filter changes. If you were running into the same problems I was having where the pump just wasn't powerful enough and the pool water kept going bad on you, this is one option out there that I felt was in a reasonable price point, as opposed to spending a lot more money on chemicals and a ton of money on filters using a low-powered pump. Alright, so this is just going to be an end of the video recap. Those two fittings you see coming out there on the side of the pool are the intakes for the pump. That's where it pulls the water from the pool, and it used to run them into that T with a small opening, which I have now converted into the Y. The water then flows over into the pump. It runs through the pump and is pushed through the filter system. From the sand filter, it is then pumped over here, and I put another Y here. The reason why there's another Y there is because I was worried about an 1.25 inch fitting, which is the only fitting they have on this pool for an input back into the pool. 1.25 inches just seemed to me to be a bit thin for the amount of water coming through this. So I did another Y to make sure there wasn't a pressure buildup on the pump. And to keep this secure, I just attached, this is an 1.5 inch line. It was a 9-foot line with a clamp there at that point. Comes up here and comes over, and I just have it hanging into the pool here. So I'm going to turn this on so you guys can kind of see it in operation. You need to secure this if you do this setup. Find a way to secure it, because if that was to flop out of the pool, it did it to me last night. I left the house for a little bit, came back, and that was laying on the ground, and it was just siphoning water out of the pool at a really high rate. So we're going to go ahead over here. We're going to turn the pump on. I'm going to show you guys right here the model number on the pump. This is an Intex. sand filter pump, model number SF70110 is the model number. And that's the sand filter pump. So we are in the filter position here. We're going to turn the pump on. This pump also has a timer feature. The switch is off if it's in the center. You push one side for on, the other side's for timer. We're going to turn it on. See the water start bubbling there. So right now the water's pulling out there and it's pushing in over here. And I'll tilt this up. You can, okay, I pushed this up so you can see it flowing through there. I'll let it back down again, and then here's the other one. That's how much water is coming out this overflow I did. So the one coming out of the pool is shooting out like a normal jet, and there was this much more water coming out that 1.5 inches. I can't imagine this trying to push all that through an 1.25 inch pipe. I feel like it would have damaged the pump, so I'm glad that I did that and gave it an extra path to go out of so it didn't put too much back pressure here on the pump. Well, thanks for watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.